this is Krystal and thank you for joining me for this week's First Chapter Friday. Today, I will be reading from the beginning of Katherine Reay's of Literature and Lattes. Winter reading ends on Monday, so please get those final minutes logged, and we will be announcing the winners next week. Prologue. It finally happened. Spring arrived in Winsome, Illinois. It took until the first days in June, but after 4 consecutive days in which temperatures topped 70 degrees, people grumbled less and smiled more. Flowers opened to the sun and stayed open. Memories of the winter with its record-breaking lows, unprecedented snow, and ubiquitous clouds dissipated in the warmth, then blew away altogether on a soft east breeze wafting across Lake Michigan. The only price yet to pay was the 5 snow days that extended the school year deep into the month, making parents scramble to reorganize vacations, camp plans, and dental appointments. Eve Parker of Olive and Eve Designs stood outside her open shop door and inhaled deeply. She had learned this new type of breathing in her first yoga class 3 weeks ago, and believed she was finally getting the hang of it. She took an 8-count breath to excel winter, another to combat the day's stress, and one more to endure the store's monthly accounting. She held that final breath, fearing the monthly books and what they might tell her. Sales had been sluggish all spring, and with the cold not relenting throughout May, the new summer stock hadn't moved. She drew her inhalation deeper yet and cataloged the smells surrounding her. Cedar mulch, a slight fish scent off the lake, cinnamon from the sweet shop. Eve's shop joined 10 others to form a horseshoe around Winsome's town square. It was a small plot of land, no more than a good-sized backyard really, with 4 brick paths dividing it into quarters and meeting in the middle at the town's World War II memorial. 3 tiers tall, featuring an unending cascade of water, it was the town's focal point in both geography and spirit. Today, a bird flitted in its lowest basin while 2 others fought for a worm at its base. Eve lifted her gaze. "Janet!" She waved across the street to one of the printed letter bookshop's employees. "Hey, Eve, you're in early." "May's gone. I've got the end of the month books today." "Better you than me." Janet Harrison waved again and turned back to face the bookshop's bay windows. She examined them with a proprietary eye before pushing through the front door. A bell chimed and its clear notes bounced off all the hard surfaces, floor, wall, ceiling, and books, before fading away in the dim light. Janet heard nothing. Lost in a creative headspace, she grabbed a stack of books, climbed into the bay window with a confident balance that would have turned Eve green with envy if she'd seen it, and spread them across the small gardening table she'd positioned in the center. She then dropped a set of canvas gardening gloves onto the floor and tilted her head to examine the effect. A satisfied smile played on her lips. The window's green backdrop provided an opulent base, like a swath of fresh grass, and with the books she'd created a garden utopia. Bright book jackets became flowers spilling from huge earthenware pots. In one corner, she stacked the books high and added a trailing vine. Jack's beanstalk never looked better. It invited readers into spring, into a wonderland, and into the shop. Janet was so focused on her creation, she didn't notice David Drummond watching her from across the square. He lifted his hand to wave as she twisted his direction, but lowered it just as fast. He didn't want to intrude. After all, the bookshop ladies, as he liked to think of them, were kind enough to let him volunteer any afternoon he wandered in. And he wasn't naive. He knew it helped him more than it helped them. Oftentimes, he would recommend a book, then not know where to find it. And one of them had to guide both him and the customer. Only last week, he'd attempted to shelve stock. And while he had gotten the alphabetical order right, nothing ended up in the right section. Turns out, and if you would like to know how he might have messed that up, you can check this out on the Libby app. Please join me here next week as I read from the beginning of TJ Alexander's Chef's Kiss. Thank you and have a great week.